Good evening. Good evening, everyone. This is so beautiful. I'm already in. So welcome, everybody. Good evening and welcome to today's part of the already ongoing and very fruitful Love-A-Thon, celebrating TeamDinmaNedum's 20th wedding anniversary. Every time I say that 20th wedding anniversary, it kind of makes my heart thump and then excites me, because in a world where marriage has gotten a lot of backlash, to see a couple enjoying themselves in this thing called marriage, because yeah, I've had my own share of stories and a lot of people have stories to tell, and it might not just be very exciting for many people when they hear marriage, especially in our climes, but to see a couple who's been rocking their own happiness, like they say it, and they are rocking it and they are so proud of it, and they don't hide it, they put it out there for other people to see such possibilities of enjoying each other's journey together and helping other people find ways to enjoy their own. So I love to be part of your life. I love to be part of your celebration. I love to be part of this thing that you're doing, as much as it's a way of celebrating a couple that's an example to others. It's also a way for me to learn, because waiting, you go try to learn, Abi. That's what they talk about. So my name is Njideka Raleke Obiora, and I'll be your host for this evening. And we're going to be having a robust conversation having fun, and being happy-fied alongside it. I know Ms. Dima will love this part because she's the queen of happiness. Learning the knowledge that can help you do life better makes your life a little happier. Because sometimes the sadness and the pains we go through is just because we didn't know how. So this is me welcoming you. If you are there, say hi in the chats. Let me know who's in already. I can see 14 participants. Let me acknowledge everybody, starting first with our dear hosts and celebrants at the same time. Daddy, Daddy Nedum, Uncle Nedum, whatever you choose to call him, Chairman Nedum and Madima Awobi. I want to celebrate you people. I want to recognize you people. I want to appreciate you people. Maybe I haven't said it to your faces. You people are just an awesome couple. You show us that this marriage thing works if you decide to make it work. You show us, and dare I say, you show the Igbo people that an Igbo man can be in love and not hide it. That's my own. An Igbo man can be in love and not hide it. I don't care whether people will say whether he has chopped. They have given him something to chop. And it doesn't reduce you, it doesn't reduce the great man that you are. Uncle Nedum, you are such an example, and I want to really appreciate you. I hope everyone can hear my voice. And you, Madima, you just exude love, you exude happiness, you exude possibilities for women, both single and married, to say, woman, you can be what you want to be if you put in the work. I want to take our time to appreciate you too for having lived your life with such intentionality and calling all of us and telling us that it's possible. And to everyone who's I recognize you. I recognize you because you find learning necessary. You find knowledge useful. You find joy a thing to celebrate, a thing to be part of. So I celebrate you. Welcome. And I don't know if our guests for today are in, they'll be in, but I want to also celebrate them. You see, friendship and intimacy isn't a small something in marriage, if I dare say so. And for a couple to be an example of friendship and intimacy, they deserve 3 roses. So I know I've said a lot, but I needed to say what needed to be said. You are welcome to this evening's celebration of these 2 lovebirds and a galore of learning that we're about to dive into. My name once again is Njideka Aleke Obiora, and this is how we're going to be starting. I'm still waiting for people to say hello in the chats. Is it possible that I can see people say hello in the chats? I don't like to, host things that people are not participating in, because in these days of just plugging in your phone, people can plug in their phones and just be about their businesses in their kitchens. Phone is in the meeting, but human beings are not in the meeting. Is there a possibility that I see the people that are part of today's meeting?
Njideka, I think the way the chat room is disabled, so usually they would put their questions in the Q&A box, but I see some of them raising their hands up. So yeah, so they react through the Q&A, and then some are waving at you already.
Okay, I can't see them from my end. So I appreciate everyone that's waving their hand. I love that you are here and you are ready to learn. Are you ready to learn? If I could hear your voices, that's what I want you to indicate. Are you ready to learn? Did you come with your notes? Did you come with your pen? Did you come with your heart ready to learn how to be happier? Okay, so I think I can see some of them. Yeah, they're raising their hands. All right, you're welcome. So I now want to I recognize them, but I want to now specially welcome them into today's event. The hosts and the celebrants, a joyful couple. This evening, I watched them dancing in the rain. That's the real dancing in the rain. It's not the people that sang it in the song, it's the people that are living it. I have an example in you guys. Help me welcome a couple that loves each other, a couple that is so intentional, a couple that's building a wholesome family, irrespective of what anybody thinks, and they are not shy to tell everybody else that this is possible. Can you help me put your hands together however it's possible? Make some noise, whoop, whoop, and welcome Uncle Nedum and Dima Nwobi, the celebrants, and the host of tonight's event. Is someone jamming their hands in their rooms? So please, let's welcome them in.
We're in.
Yes, I can see you. Auntie Dima, I know you are the one that did this makeup. Your makeup skills is up in like every day.
Hey, take it. In a hurry. Oh my goodness.
No. The lip is lipping. Uncle Nedum, after or maybe towards the end, that lip deserves a kiss. While the marriage is end, so we shouldn't be shy, right?
And what is happening now? You don't know whether it's the kids that will ginger my power.
Okay, right? Uncle Nedum, kiss before we start. Somebody say, oh.
Thank you, Njideka, and thank you everyone there for choosing to celebrate with us in the Love-A-Thon. And in the fourth day, you are highly welcome, and we deeply appreciate your love, your prayers, and all your wishes that have been pouring out throughout this month of July. And this fourth day, we are looking at extraordinary connection, nurturing friendship, and intimacy. And like I said in the very first day, preparing for marriage was something I took very seriously. And actually, in my life book, I stated what I wanted to see in my marriage. And one of the things I wrote when it comes to wife and husband relationship was, I want to be the best friend of my wife. I actually wrote that before I even met Dima. And one of the things I begin to think is, how do I make this possible? And I was a fan of Bill Cosby's show, and I saw the relationship, I saw the atmosphere, I saw the connection these couples, the couple were having in that show. Irrespective, it was a show. I was so fascinated that I was so hooked to that idea of that kind of friendship shared within the couple in Bill Cosby's show. And I looked around me, I saw completely a different kind of relationship between husband and wife, precisely where I trade. I see men who will joke, play with other ladies, and once their wife shows up, they freeze up to squeeze their face. It's as if a demon has just appeared. And I was like, this person was playing with secretaries or playing with female staffs, and he couldn't extend the same kind of warmth, friendliness to the wife. Sometimes I'll be in some men's office, they will be gisting, they were laughing, and immediately the phone rang, and it's their wife. They're like, hello, what is it? And this is what I was so baffled about. Why is this happening? And sometimes from men conversation, I hear this idea that if your wife becomes your friend, you will lose your respect. You will not be appreciated. You will not be the head again. They will squeeze your ear. They will do all kinds. They will manipulate you. And therefore, you need this toughness and this rigidity to, stamp your foot and be the man there. That couple or marriage relationship is not for friendship. It's a wife, not a friend. And this is not what I actually want, because I want to enjoy not just the end, but also the process as we live along. And that made me to search for, how do I become a friend? What kind of friend do I want to be to my partner? And because of my initial quest for knowledge always, there are certain books that actually help me to understand friendship in marriage, and the kind of mindset, the kind of skills I need to have, knowledge I need to have to be this kind of husband who is truly a friend to the wife. That one of them is Communications in Marriage by Norman Wright. What Makes a Woman Feel Loved by Emily Barnes. Becoming Soulmate by Les Parrott. How to Win Friends and Influence Them by Dale Carnegie. And Why You Act the Way You Do by Tim LaHaye. So these were some of the books that actually changed how I think, how I perceive about a wife and how to be a friend. And this led into when we started the relationship. I also took time to always ask my wife during our review section, how is our friendliness? And I realized one time when I think that was the first 5 months or 6 months into our relationship, and he told me that she doesn't feel free coming to talk to me most times. She has to like think over, rephrase the question, rephrase how what she wants to say. And sometimes when she shows up, she forgets even what she wants to say. And that was a concern for me. And the issue was that it says I boon too much. I don't laugh. I'm not open to like somebody who wants to ask conversation. I was like, what is it? What is it? Let me answer you and you leave. And this makes me, because by temperament, I'm a male clo. And if you understand temperament by what I mean, we are always serious. And I will tell her, don't look at my face, look at my heart. My face doesn't matter, but my heart matters. But this is not God. It's only God that looks at the heart. And man looks at the face. And she will say one Igbo side, now what's happening? That's try to laugh, you know. So today, when I laugh a lot, it's a miracle, it's a magic. And when I play a lot now or play, it's a magic. It's one of the most transformational miracles that has happened in my life. And this has been something I think that if you really desire something, you are willing to go through whatever change that is required, whatever skill that is required, whatever knowledge that is required to be able to become that kind of person that can make that dreams a reality. And this over the time and consistently, I try to be approachable. I try to ask questions. I try to ask for feedbacks. And over years, it's as if my personality has actually transformed to something actually desirable for a conducive relationship in terms of friendship. Is a process of knowing what you want and willing to risk vulnerability, willing to be open, willing to be accepted, willing to share the deepmost of your thoughts and feelings without being biased. And continuously, that has helped me become not just a friend of Dimma, but the day she said it one day, I think 2 years into our marriage, you know, you're my best friend. There was that satisfaction of getting that thing I wrote that time before I met her. I feel very high and I feel very grateful for having got it. And till today, by the special grace of God, am I still your best?
And the answer will still be a yes.
Okay.
We get to share a lot of things in common.
Yeah.
So for me, when we look at friendship in marriage, I always see it as that glue that keeps the marriage together. Look at the different things in marriage. When you are friends with your partner, liken it to other friendships, right? And you see that it even gives you a way to regulate your conflicts better. So friendship for me is the glue that keeps marriage together, because there's so much. Life is already tough. Like I say, my husband will say, I'm used to saying this life lived once ought to be lived freely, fully, and happily. And even without you going out to look for stress or to look for the things that would challenge your sense of well-being, life will throw them at you. So you don't want to even be with, you have to find a way to have great conversations with your partner so that you can navigate life together. And I recognize that depending on the how some of us met and got married, perhaps friendship was not at the center of our relationships, right? But I always tell people the best time to plant a tree would have been 100 years ago, but the next best time is now. So it doesn't matter where your friendship started from, but if you understand how it is important and why it is important that you nurture friendship, you can take baby steps to do that. Because friendship for me deepens that feeling of we. Like there's a shared sense of we-ness, if I'm going to put it, that helps for marriage to be successful. And it's only somebody that you can be yourself with that you can actually nurture that. It's sad to note that some couples are married yet lonely. And I want to maybe say this. The situation for Nedum and I, where we are best of friends, is our unique story, right? And we are grateful for that. However, you can still enjoy a flourishing marriage with your partner, even if you are not best of friends. But there is a level of friendship that is required to make this marriage easy. So I always want to state that, because somebody will now say, so are you saying that because we're not best of friends, we're not enjoying our marriage? No.
I was going to catch you there.
No. However, there must be some level of friendship. If you are just living like mere strangers, if you are just in your relationship like just acquaintances, there is so much of yourself, and that will take us to intimacy. Even look at life generally. Let's take it outside marriage so that we can make the connection. On the level of intimacy, which for us is intimacy, I can't remember where we ventured on that. I think it was a couple that brought about that, that transfer of intimacy being intimacy, and it makes so much sense to us. So if I ask you a question, would you allow just anybody to see into you in the ordinary world when it's not even marriage? There are some things you can't share to a stranger that you share with an intimate friend, with a close friend. There are some things you will share with an acquaintance that you will not share with a stranger. There are some things you will share with a familiar friend that is not the business of an acquaintance. So that's what I mean, that you don't have to be best of friends, as it were, but your level of friendship must have transcended from strangers to acquaintances to familiar, and then tending towards close friendship for you to do this life together with a bit of ease. The next thing I want to point out in our experience is that nurturing friendship involves investment of time. And it's not about the ratio of time that you invest to it. It is the things that you do, little deposits consistently. I like to always reference the 6 magic hours of John Gottman and his wife, who have done extensive research on marriage. And they've come to say that for you to grow friendship, there has to be some intentionality of the time you spend, even those minute little hours. And they began to look at, how do you live yourselves in the morning? What are the rituals and routines that you do as a couple when you are parting ways? Maybe as little as escorting the spouse to the car, or exchanging a kiss or whatever. I'm sure somebody is listening to me and saying, no, be after the man don't annoy you that you're looking for kiss. So there are barriers to building friendship. And it's until you're able to fix those barriers, which may be sense of betrayal, maybe communication issues or whatever. But I'm just speaking to what it takes to build that friendship. You have to know habits and convert it to rituals and routines. One thing I also want to state here is that in building friendship, and it's interesting, Nedum and I joined this class from a couple session. So we're having a session with a couple and some things came up. And we began to share with them the intentionality of even having to step into what your spouse likes as how they spend their time and all that. That does not necessarily have to be what you like. Because the man was like, but I don't like to do this. And that's what she wants me to do. And the woman is like, he wants to do this. And we gave them a case in point, which Nedum narrated. To say, for example, Nedum is, well, I used to be, but then I think midlife and change in metabolism as I'm approaching menopause has reduced my energy level. So I don't used to jump around like I used to jump around with him back in the days. And I think I will use this to say a story, to make a point. So one of the things we've done over time in building friendship is spending recreational time together. And one of the things that we do is exercising together. And so I remember when we just got married, 26 years old, and going into 30s, I could jog with this man for 1 hour and all of that. But as my age is coming, the energy is not there. So we noticed that sometimes I can't go on the walk with him. So we decided, you do your walk. If you want to do exercise 10 days a week, and I know you understand why the emphasis, do your 10 days. But the one we are going to share together 2 days a week, we are going to do it minimal, because my power cannot sustain that your 100 hours. Why? Because we noticed that if we don't spend time together, we don't have that opportunity to gist. We don't have that opportunity to talk. We don't have that opportunity to catch up in each other's lives. So somebody might be saying, but his interests are not my interests. There's always a way to agree on how to make a compromise so that both parties feel represented. And I've also seen cases where many times the women have to play along with what the man likes to do recreationally. And then the woman is feeling left out, right? So I'm also encouraging our men. It's not only about you. You need to also find out what your wife likes to do and then also do that for her, with her, so that both of you are feeling a shared sense of mutual interest that we can do together.
And one of the things I think I needed to learn to love to do because of how I was going to the movies. My brain cannot understand why I can buy a movie in Alaba 50 naira, 100 naira, and watch in the same television the same movie, and now go to buy popcorn for an exaggerated price and Coke, Sprite, and now watch in a movie. And you now calculated the money. You can cook one pot of soup.
Pot of soup for movie. We are seeing. It's not pot of soup.
But you know that when you love somebody and you are building friendship, one of the most important things is that the time you spend with the person gives some kind of butterfly in your stomach, only because your best time in spending quality time, always you are looking up for a friend. Even when we were much younger, maybe in school days, once you want to have a good, wonderful time, you are searching for your best friend. You are looking for your best friend. Which another way we also deepen our friendship and intimacy is in the place of intellectual stimulations. We like reading, and there are books we read together. There are studies we go together, and there are interactions we just, when we are together, it becomes what we share. And we can spend 3 to 4 hours sharing an idea and a concept. And this is one of the things I find that is our deepest connection in friendship. So, and also we share financial intimacy and open accounting system. What do I mean by that? We are transparent in our accounts. We are transparent in our dealings. It doesn't necessarily mean that all our funds are in a joint account, but nobody decides to hide whatever information somebody wants to see from him or her in terms of financial dealings. So some of the accounts are personal accounts, some are joint, but there's this openness to work together in a joint process with our money. So this deepens our intimacy and how we have been growing over years in our friendship. Another one is the physical intimacy, which she has shared, and social intimacy, where we like in socializing events. There are difficult times where I show up in a place. The next thing they'll ask, your wife did not come with you. Your wife did not come with you. It's as if that we are tied with an umbilical cord. No, it's simply people always say, once you show up here, your partner always show up. How come you are the only one showing up? And these are moments where we are proud of ourselves. And I say this with every sense of humility. It's difficult to know Nedum Mobi and you don't know Dimma. It's extremely not possible. It's extremely not possible. You know me and you don't know Dimma. I've not seen where that happened, because we are like a Siamese twin sometimes, and we can't do without it. Is what we have nurtured and what we have wanted. And we have seen the possibility that life can be shared at that peak. And even though your differences, your disagreements, your preferences, you can compromise because you share deep relationship with a person as a friend. So that openness, that joy, that common ideals is what that wherever I am running, where is Dimma? Even the children say now, wow, where is Dimma? Where is Dimma? And I think we bless God for that. Bless God. Yeah.
This one, let's not go to that part, because even sometimes my mother is around and then maybe I'm in the room with her, visitor's room, and she'll say, maybe I'll say it in Igbo and then translate it. She'll say, wow. I'm like, calm down. Maybe let me carry my leg, come here. But of course, our children, so that we're balancing how this is playing out. So for our children, maybe sometimes like one of our anniversaries, we ask them, so what do you think we should work on? And they say we should work on living ourselves. So for my son, it's like your gum body is too much. People should give each other space. You should allow each other breathe. And so we're taking that feet forward. And also, so that does not also mean that we don't have times alone. Yeah. So there are times I hang out with my friends. There are times, this man does not have plenty of friends. So if I say there are times he hangs out with his friends, that would be me lying. So even in his hanging out with the friend, I'm somehow involved. It is myself, I can say that I have friends and networks I can hang out with and still nurture my personal flourishing and interest much more than him. All right. Of course, he has friends, but one of his relaxing moments is having me around. So that's why I'm always tagging along. But then they will say it's me that is dragging him. Better tell them today that you're the one that is always dragging me. Then the other thing you want to share. Okay. And so I think that would be where we would pause, because I usually would like people to ask questions. So Njideka, over to you, and then not now, when it's time for Q&A, so that we don't.
Questions will come later.
Yes, so we can maximize the time for the Q&A to really deal with topical issues that people in the audience want us to speak to. We cannot wait for us to unveil our guest couple. These ones, you think Nedum and Dimma are doing love. Wait till you see Timola or you will know that love is in different dimensions.
Thank you so much. I've been grinning from ear to ear ever since you people have been speaking, because there's something I realized. Why did you people take their faces? Even your faces is beautiful to behold, but all the same, this is the process of the program. You guys are a breath of fresh air. Listening to you people, I can say a few things that I picked from you. I can hear intentionality, and intentionality again. And these are a few points that I picked, and I know I'm not the only one that picked a few. I know everyone who listened must have picked one or two things. When Uncle Nedum was speaking, I kept hearing, I want to. And that was before he got married to you. And for me, the question that arises from that is, what did you really want? Or what do you really want? Say you have not even entered into it, or you are in the marriage. What do you really want? That's the question that kept ringing. What do you really want? Because Uncle Nedum kept saying, I wanted. And he kept emphasizing that part where I said, some Igbo men, it's like when you see an Igbo man who's in love and showing it and not hiding it, it's like there's something wrong with him. They gave him something to chop. And Uncle Nedum has eaten that thing that they gave him, and he's happy to have swallowed it and swallowing even more. So he says a kind of man who is truly a friend. These are some of the things he said he wanted. That he wanted to be a kind of man who is truly a friend. What kind of wife did you want to be, or do you want to be? What kind of husband do you want to be? And one of the things I also picked out, and I put it in my own words, is that a working marriage does not happen in a vacuum. He mentioned books he studied before he got married. And I wrote, this is the way I interpreted what I picked from him. I said, there is always a difference between a fleeting desire and a working desire. I mean, everybody desires and wishes a million a couple. But I saw that there is a difference between a fleeting desire and a working desire. And Uncle Nedum did work his desire. And one of the things he also said is he used to be someone who boned. I couldn't relate this person I know now to someone who used to be boning, right? But he says something that if you really want something, you will go through what it takes to achieve or become that. You will be willing to risk vulnerability. And he didn't only want it. When he got the feedback, instead of feeling attacked or anything, he said, this is not giving me what I want. So they call it tabula rasa, right? Yeah. Garbage in, garbage out. And so what he was getting was not what he wanted, and he went to work. I am learning a lot that, see, you cannot run away from it. Nobody can work it. Nobody can do this fasting and prayer for you. We got to work it. And I also learned that friendship is a glue that keeps the marriage together. And Auntie Dema said it helps regulate and resolve your issues in marriage. And I realized, yes, if you truly want to keep marriage working, then you need to look at how you handle issues. Because if you're friends, you want your friendship, then it will manage how you respond or react when things happen. And the part where she says that nurturing friendships takes investment of time, and that you should make rituals in the morning or stuff that you need to invest in. Part of where she said that we should have interest, even if it's not our best interest. Some women, I realized, became footballers in the name of love, and Auntie Dima supports that. Or football lovers, right? Someone I know says that her own, she does not know who is kicking what. Her own is just to be shouting at husband's club. And if they have to go out to go and watch it, they should just give her something to be chopping, and she'll keep shouting at husband's club. That's her own. And it helps her. All right. So part of also what I learned is that you must have shared things. For Uncle Nedum and Anthony Dima, I heard intellectual stimulation. Intellectual stimulation. For some people, it might just be food. I mean, you don't have to be exactly their own way. It doesn't have to, your own does not have to be that. Just find something that we can share together. And financial intimacy, this one is the one I wanted to build house and live in. Some people give the excuse and say, but how can I surprise you if you know everything that comes in and goes out? Maybe we'll come back with that question later when it's time for questions. But these are a few of the things I picked up, and I wrote them down because it's not because I'm the host. I have a lot to learn. And when it's question time, I do know that you have the things that you learned that you maybe need more understanding about. So we have a couple testifier. That's a couple that wants to share what they've learned by following and paying attention to TeamDinmaNedum, and it's Team Maduako. They are here to share their testimony. So someone say testimony time.
Blessing.
Can we please invite?
I think they're trying to come up as panelists. They're coming up as panelists so that they can share. While we wait for Team Madako, when you were talking that you couldn't relate with Nedum being the boning person, I just remembered a story. So when we gave birth to our first daughter, it's for context. So Nedum is an entrepreneur running his business in Alaba International Market. And so major part of our family dynamics is having apprentice from his trade who live with us. Okay. And so when we had our first daughter, one of the apprentices said he came to the hospital to see the baby that was giving birth to. And so what did he want to see? He wanted to see, and he came and the baby was smiling, and he was like, a child that Oga Nedum gave birth to is this cheerful and happy, because for him,
was that bad.
No, it was serious. And people who knew him in those early years, kind of like the fear of his face was the beginning of wisdom for you. All right. And so when he talked about me saying that, looking at his face, if I wanted, and I'm being frank here, if I wanted to, Team Madako, we're waiting for you to join the panelists. I've sent you invite. Okay, they are rejoining. And I'm not mincing words to say that I would have to, like, you know, want to say something. Then I look at his face and all the morale of what I wanted to say will just evaporate. So it was when we were in our retreat and we're talking about how the relationship is going that I said, you know what? This face is not allowing me be myself in this relationship. We need to do something about it. And of course, I appreciate the fact that he took the feet forward and started to work on it. So people meeting us now are like, but they didn't know the days that his face was a torment, so to say. I think Team Madako are here. Team Madako, please turn on your video so that we can, you know, see you, and then you can go ahead. Are you there? Can you? All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Oh, welcome.
Oh, no,
Welcome.
this one, you are sitting one side. Wait till happen. Sit down. Where could they see your face? Chipet, we're not seeing your face. Today.
Yeah, great.
Our face is clear now.
Yeah, it's clear, it's clear. Welcome.
You're shining.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening too. Go ahead.
So yes, go ahead and give us your testimony. That's, you're the ones who are waiting for. Tell us what you've learned from TeamDinmaNedum all this while about intimacy and friendship.
Okay. So, okay, let me start with, let's say, time together. Like, usually, you know, as couples, we're usually very busy. You might say, we'll go this weekend. Don't worry, we'll go out. In a particular weekend, we'll go and stay only 3 days. You know, that kind of thing. And then something keeps coming up and coming up. But first of all, I want to start with, like, from even the program itself. We knew that it was, like, we had to seize that opportunity every year, because that's the only opportunity that we know that was sure for us to spend time together. So they really helped in, as in us creating time, you know, understand, to bond as couples, because I think sometimes we don't even live on that exact day that the program ends. We still have time, you understand, stay more, stay 1 or 2 more days together.
Yeah, another thing that we can testify to is the openness and the opportunity for us to understand what it means by love language, you know. So you know, if we are not involved in that family get together, we won't be able to understand what love language means. You just see that as a way of life. So, but we're able to be identified with what each person wants. Like this she here, is a problem. If you've not bought a gift, just forget it too. You know, if you've not bought a gift, just forget it. And when she demands it, it's just another problem. So I now find it as part of my way of winning her heart, that whatever she wants should be there for her. You understand? In fact, or even upon this subsidy removal, there is so much good that she so much wants. And it's also a problem. We have to buy it. You know, the truth is, you need to weigh options. If you know that this makes this person happy, why can't you work towards making it happy? Especially once you know that truly that person is genuine in heart. You know, it's only when that somebody is trying to take advantage of it that you can now say a no to it. You understand? So that's it. And also, to understand my own love language, that indirectly, no matter what, piano is involved. You understand?
Even when they don't know what piano is.
Oh my God.
Piano, you know, even when there's one time that I was doing birthday, you know, she bought so many lovely things, share this. So she now complained that, Paul, of all the things you bought, you don't even, there's no curiosity in you to even see what they look like. Only say just piano, you understand? So because of that, it's also a problem, a disadvantage to me, because I don't really receive those gifts again. But anytime I want piano, she's available, you understand?
So let me elaborate on this matter. So there was a time that I bought a lot of things, like me, and I was speaking my own love language to him during his birthday. And then after showing him everything, he just looked at it, not even open anyone. Next, he just grabbed me. So then I think it was the next year that we went for this stuff, that there was a particular time we dealt on love languages. So that was when I said, okay, no wonder. Why am I even bothering myself? There's no need again now. On your birthday, instead of bothering myself, I'll buy you cake. After cake, I'll make myself available for every kind of style. You understand? Then we'll come to this gift that he's saying that this subsidy, I'm demanding for gold. This birthday accumulated though. And usually when he annoys me, I will just change it for him that you don't love me. Since you're every day promising. I might be understanding at that moment, but if he annoys me, I remember that I was not loved because he did not fulfill his promise and did not buy me any gifts. Do you understand? So this is how we understand. It was from that's one of the couple stuff that we understood all this. So then we also have this family retreat. There was another, they always say it anyway in almost all the programs we have attended at. They usually map out another time for family retreat with their parents and with their children. So we also took that, and I think it's just this last year and last year we did not go, but from that time on, we always, after we take our children, go somewhere, stay for some days, even do some prayers, fasting and everything for the family. So
the another one is the issue of you talk how much Nedum have prepared for marriage even from the womb. So he prepared this so much that there is documentary of everything. There is vision, there is mission, there is how this marriage is going to be. So we getting involved. We also taught it as much that we need to also have a family vision and a mission for the children. And again, we also take it upon ourselves that we need to start making them understand what life is all about. Be intentional about their upbringing. You're not only about saving money for them or taking them to the best of schools. There's this family background. I need to make them understand that, yes, we can't deviate from what our family stands for, what our family is known for, so that when they mention your family or when they see a member of your family anywhere, they will know that, yes, these people represent what a good family should be. So that is being there to know that Nedum actually, before God give him Dimma, that some of these things need to be tabulated and engraved. And I'm very sure that some of the things will be revealing to the children when they want to marry. I'm very sure you cannot reveal everything, because I know Nedum and how he has tailored marriage with Dimma,
So let me.
Wow. Thank you so much for reason of time.
Okay,
so beautiful.
Wow.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Okay, so there was
Oh
You are gonna your time.
Njideka, if you leave Team Madwako,
lastly,
our time is actually up. Wow, this is beautiful.
To drop family tree.
Okay, so we will have to cut, but
minutes is too short.
we will have to cut because of time. I am a man under authority. Trust me, I really love this testimony and I would love to stay on. But I know that TeamDinma and Nedum can share this with us as a testimonial, put it on all the platforms so that we can see the testimonies and the fruits of the work that they've been doing over the years. Thank you so much, Team Madwako. I love you guys already, and God bless you and keep empowering you. Back, yes, back to our host and the team of the day, TeamDinma and Nedum. You can see your effort is bearing many fruits, and this is maybe one of the many ones you have not really heard. And I am very motivated, like they say. This is such a beautiful thing to behold. And Nedum, you are an epitome of motivation for the men, and I love that. So can we quickly go to the guests that has been talked about for today? I'll leave Auntie Dinma to make the introductions.
All right, so yes, thank you, Team Madwako, and it's just a beauty seeing your family vision on the wall. I know when they created it, they sent us a picture, and I was glad that they took, the learning home and they acted on it. So right about now, we're bringing our guest couple, Team Olaore And this is one couple that we admire their friendship, we admire the work they put to their marriage, and we admire everything that they represent, especially with the intentionality. If you've been following us from week 1, I did mention that every couple that was chosen for the topic that they were invited were intentionally chosen. And I guess that as you send in your questions and we listen to them, you will know why it was this same couple who have been 36 years old. So I'm hoping that the case will come and see this. Because when Nedum and I are doing love, they will say, you are old, you are old. I'm like, old where? Come and see Tim Olare, 36 years, extra 16 years added to our own, how they are still doing all their loving gida. So please, welcome Tim Olare, Dr. Israel and Augusta to today's Love-A-Thon. It's our pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you. It's just been, we've been laughing here. Just make sure that there is the PM.
That's a new word.
Just put the PM.
That's a new word. Wow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tim Olare. You people came decked in Ashwebi. That's another level to this intimacy and friendship thing. Yes, now.
But some people will be saying, I don't be doing anko. It's not by anko. Some people do anko and their marriage is not thriving. I said, leave the people that are doing anko and it's not thriving. We that are thriving, if I choose to do anko, I will do my anko and I will own it with my full chest.
Full chest, though. Uncle was pointing at her, but the truth is, you agreed. That's what matters, because if you did not agree, there will not be any anko. Well, you got it. All right, so you're welcome. It's such a privilege to be the moderator of your session. I already saw your video and I'm like, this couple at your age, you're still doing lovey. We've got so many things to learn from you. He's shocking until I can see it's shocking you. All right, so can we please hear what's the story and the journey? What has it been for you people? What's the story of this friendship and intimacy? Has it always been like this? How was it from the beginning?
Well, I think just to first and foremost thank the hosts and hostess for inviting us, and I want to thank Nedum for his resting face. You know, I see that your resting face is a smile, with intentionality, and that is very, very important. You know, because sometimes my resting face can be like this, and that is not good. So we need to have a resting face that is, you know, appealing, and I thank you for keeping that up. We started from college, from university, the University of Ife, and I was in the university ahead of her. And at one point, it just occurred to me that I needed to talk to God about a wife. And I said, Lord, I want you to give me a wife, someone who will be as tall as I am, beautiful, you know, and someone that I can love and have in my life. I didn't put the playlist that Nedum had to be a friend, you know, I didn't put that, but that developed by the mercy of God. It developed because when we met on campus, we met in a program where she, you know, was dancing with some people and I was standing. I am phlegmatic, she's sanguine, okay? So I'm just standing like this, posing like, what's wrong with these jam bites, you know? And then she just came, my cousin came and pulled me to join the group. And it was after the dance that they now introduced her, you know, and then our friendship started. So it was the friendship that started before any relationship became a need. So that's my own introduction to how we started.
So beautiful. You prayed for a wife and God introduced a friend. See how God answers.
Yes.
So, but that's your side of the story. Ma, is that the same thing for you?
to a large extent, the thing for me was that I was really young, really, University of Ife in those days was those places where you could get into school, into the university by 16. So I was really young and very sheltered. So when I went to school, I was like, God, but very, very Christian, fervent and all that. So I was like, God, I'm just going here to make a first class and to serve you. I don't want to be distracted with boys because I didn't grow up having boyfriends. I mean, I was a very religious family. Okay, so, but when we now started, of course, doing the Christian fellowship thing, friendship, that was the context within which I met him. So I met him in the group of friends. So friendship, like you were saying that there are some people that it's a different way of entry. Ours was actually from the place of friendship. So it was in that context that I really was admiring him. Oh my God.
Let the singles breathe. Let the singles breathe.
Let them breathe. Don't be pressing their neck.
Just admired him from afar. Okay, so it wasn't like we were so into each other's face. So there were like 10 people and he was one of them. So I could admire him and I really liked him. Even though he was phlegmatic, but he was a very funny person. Very funny, I don't know how God just put that combination together. And just the way he would make us laugh and very serene, calm. And I think that was also one of the things that attracted me and was really turning me on, because I was like your gra person and he would just be so calm and then he would come out, do his funny stuff and go back. So that was how, and then we just started gravitating towards each other. I did not know all the prayer. I did not even pray because I was not ready. I did not think I was ready at 15, 16 for any relationship. I was just looking for friendship, and then, and I had to start hiding. I was sharing this on our 35th wedding anniversary. So I was hiding behind the fact that he was a Christian brother, an older brother. It's like 5 years between us. So I could hide behind my big brother. So I was nurturing this attraction that I did not feel permitted to have, but I felt I could direct it under the guise of my big brother. And I didn't have a big brother because I'm the first child, in my home. So when I'm missing him and I'm looking for him, I ask people, have you seen my big brother? Have you seen my big brother, And after a while, it's like this big brother thing. You have two different last names, sort of thing. I think NDJK will be rejoining us. So that's what happened. I just had to allow it and admit to it that I really had romantic affections for him and that it was okay.
Oh, wow.
And he received it, right?
Yeah. The girl fine.
Talk now.
The girl fine. She be ajebota. If you know what ajebota is, I am paki. That is, I am cassava. She is butter. So I will look at her like, yeah, today. Even the name self, like, this girl fine. And she was 16 when we met. So I was just admiring her as well, but I didn't know that that was the person God had in mind for me. So it took some time for that to become part of it. But before that, it was just mutual friendship.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I think Network kicked off our moderator, so I'll just be standing in for her until she joins. So please, if you have questions on building connection, friendship, intimacy, please drop it in the Q&A session. I will just take the question that is there and direct it to Team Olaore. So someone is asking, in any case, I guess this question came from when we were sharing. And so it's, in any case, there must be balance and commitment from both sides. How do you achieve that? So I'm guessing that the question is, how do you achieve balance and commitment that is not one-sided, but is mutual from both ends? And how have you been able to do that in your own relationship?
Yes. You know, one of the things that we have been able to summarize our 35 years, 36 years of experience is in the word grace, Grace. And grace has been a concept that we have, that has explained, you know, how we have been. And part of the R of our grace is receiving each other. You know, we have G and all that, but focusing on the R is receiving each other. It's one thing to admire and appreciate someone. It's another thing to submit yourself to them and receive what they bring into the relationship. It has not always been that way. There was a time I could not be myself with my husband, just like Dima, you were saying that you have to construct. My own was not even just constructing. Like I would go and buy stuff and hide it because I did not feel that he was going to appreciate the fact that I'm a shopaholic and I want to buy. So I would buy, either hide it in the car or hide it behind the closet, you know. But receiving came when we started to accept each other for who we were. And there was no shaming. We didn't shame each other for who we were. It's like, this is who he is. This is who I am. I bring who I am fully to the table, and I allow him to bring who he is fully to the table. That's where the balance comes in. You know, allowing each other to be, not shaming them, and each person being honest, like, you know what, like Dima, you were saying, I cannot run like I used to run. Allow me to do my own softly, and you can do your own the way you are doing it. That really brought balance for us. You know, that really brought balance, and it helped the other person to be comfortable with, this is how much I can do. Bring it. Okay. Somehow it always measures up. Somehow the miracle is it will always be 100% when each person brings who they are, the way they are. Somehow the magic of love will balance it, as long as we are bringing who we are and we feel relaxed to be that person, right? What do you think?
Yeah, I think intentionality is the other thing. You know, we see what needs to be and we are intentional about it. Okay, I remember that the first 10 years of our marriage was not as easy as it was the 4 years of our courtship. You know, we had a beautiful courtship, but the first 10 years of our marriage was quite challenging in terms of the reality of the rubber meeting the road. And we're discovering some things about each other, like, wow, she's so fussy and so pushy. I'm so laid back and relaxed. No, this is not going to work.
It's slow. It's not laid back and relaxed is even good. Slow.
You know, so how then we fought a lot. We fought a lot. I'm talking about fighting. I'm not talking about fist fighting. I'm talking about, you know, conflicts and, you know, but it was not until we began to recognize that, look, we need more intentionality. If this thing is going to work, we need to be more intentional, you know, and we included 2 components, you know, that shifted the things for us, which included an intentional connection point. Every day we connect. Okay, every day. I pray, I have my quiet time. She has her quiet time. We do family worship, but we did not connect. We did not connect. So every day we were intentional in connecting. And then somehow God threw in the tactile touch, you know, My love language is touch. So we'll hug each other and we kiss, and then we'll say, I love you. And that began to shift some of the energy from the pensiveness to the relaxation. So we needed to stop everything and reevaluate our relationship in the 10th year. So some people may be going through it and it's rough, and you think like, man, forget it. This is not working. I'm out of here. You may need to do some evaluation and be intentional about what needs to be put in it for it to work.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that answer. So I'm in the chat room. Juwon, we are talking serious things here, and Juwon is sending, he will just look at her and say, Yetunde, hey, this love is sweet. Juwon, that's not question. Send in your questions. And so TeamDinmaNedum will take this. How do you rekindle intimacy, especially when due to circumstances it has dwindled? As if that person read my mind. So more like intimacy killers, like, okay, somebody's saying this is good to have. Oh, you started, this one prayed, God brought wife, this one wrote epistle and all of that. That's not our reality. And right now, the friendship is not friendly. The intimacy, nobody is seeing into anybody. What are the steps you can share with somebody in that situation where friendship is dying or has died and they want to start to rekindle it? What can they do differently?
I think if both of them can realize where they are and where they need to be and the things that are missing, and also what they want to enjoy as husband and wife, that realization of both of them is an important meeting point. And sometimes couples try to amend a situation that is beyond them, either the knowledge or skill or inability to sit together and have an amicable agreement. That's where coaching comes in. That's where guidance comes in. There's where couple counseling comes in. Couple counseling or guidance or coaching is not necessarily because you have a deep problem. It could just be, how do we move forward or achieve a different kind of relationship that we are having? It's about growth. And once people come in, you find out that sometimes the people want to do those things, but they don't know how and where to start. This is where coaching comes in to help the couple see a pathway in building intimacy. Secondly, it could also be within friends. We do couple getaway and we come and together, we see people who are so distant. But when they see people enjoying bonding and friendship, they're like, so there's nothing wrong in having this kind of intimacy, because in the group, people were really showing love and intimacy. And with the teaching and support, people now begin to, people come not even willing to hold hand. And over there, they see people are holding hand, taking pictures, loving, and they're like, so we can even do this. So sometimes people don't have models or role model that they can see that this place we are coming from, that we may not have a model like that, actually we can have now, and these people can help us, blend and is that gap that we are having. So these are some of the ways it can help. Two, the third one, is that can you people also be willing to have genuine conversations about what you people need? Let us not pretend as if we don't need the thing, and yet deep inside we are yearning for it. Once your heart yearns for something, meet your partner, say, I am yearning for so and so. How can we move on? What do we need to do different? So there's no need to pretend. You will not be the person to ask for it. You will not be the person to request for it. So that it's not be that you are begging. Please, if you really beg, it's your husband. That's the important thing. And once you get along, it's both of you are going to experience and enjoy it. So living together as a couple and having that inability to experience intimacy, I don't understand how that is possible. But if you are in such a position, there's hope for you. And because you are here, we'll have Timolore, we'll have TeamDinmaNedum, you can contact any of us and we are available to help as much as possible.
So when it comes to this thing that you should beg for, is it plus the piang that you can beg for?
You see that Paul's entered the signal of piang.
And I add to that to say that I've seen taking some intentionality in expressing, reflecting on the things that are working and the things you are grateful for, being a dynamic changer.
Yes.
So yes, maybe friendship may have gone bad or intimacy is dwindling. You know, because of how our brains work, we kind of have a tendency to be fixated on those aspects that are not working. Yes. So sometimes it could just be for you to look at that relationship on a holistic level. Is there anything at all that is working? It may not even be directly to your relationship. Maybe is that person a good father? That is somewhere to start from. Is that person a good friend? Is that person? So look for at least the low-hanging fruits, the things you can be grateful for, and take the step to appreciate the person for that. Imagine that you are not friends, but then you notice when the person does a kind gesture to a child, one of your children. The typical thing would be like, oh, when it's the children, he knows how to be nice. But when it's me, what is it? But even that one, you're like, oh, thank you. I see how you did that to so and so child. That was thoughtful of you. Thank you. Everybody thrives in a sense of recognition and appreciation. No, even the toughest of men will, you can melt the worst hardened hearts with that. I think that's something I want to add there. So don't just get fixated on what is not working. Find at least the tiniest thing working, celebrate it, build on that, and that person can even now, you now get the ears of the person. And again, remember that if friendship has gone bad over time, you don't expect that one day it gets back to the peak. So the next thing is commit to baby steps. Celebrate the progress that is happening. It was bad at 10%. Now it has grown. Let's celebrate that and then keep building on that. So that's what I wanted to add to what Nedum shared. I'm saying, okay, go ahead, Augusta. Before I
very quickly. I mean, you hit it on, okay, because resentment, contempt are major blockers of friendship and intimacy. Resentment, contempt, okay? And those who have been working with Gottman will know why, where all of these words are coming from. And the way that resentment sets in is when there is an ideal picture of what your husband should be or what your wife should be, either in comparison to somebody else or in comparison to your own idol that you had put, and then they are short. And then you look at the ideal and you look at what is wrong, and you have resentment in that area because you are focusing on what is wrong. And there's something we'll say, focus on what is strong, not on what is wrong. Focus on what is strong and not on what is wrong. Once we start doing that, it starts to repair that difference, that resentment. It starts to chip away at resentment, contempt that has been coming in, and softens, like you were saying. So focusing and being grateful for what is strong and not what is wrong is a beautiful, antidote that will help us, will build us, and strengthen the commitment. Because like we were talking about intentionality, sometimes even that intentionality is like, I don't want to be intentional about this because I am hurting. There's so much toxicity, and gratitude just slashes that toxic emotion very quickly that allows other things to be.
Fantastic, so spot on. Welcome back, NJ. We missed you, and I've been doubling as moderator and host. So it's good to have you back. So over to you. You're muted.
You're muted.
Yeah, I'm muted.
You are muted.
I'm muted. We can't hear you.
You are rapping English in a muted state.
And I said, I am back. And that's what I said when I was sedated after having my last baby. And I came out of the sedation and I told the doctors, I am back. Thank you so much, Auntie Dimma, for holding the fort. And I have learned quite a lot in these few minutes I joined. I heard, look at the low-hanging fruit. And I'm imagining that you people talked about intimacy killers and how to handle them, right? And I heard, look at what is strong and not what is wrong. Is someone jotting things down? Because these are gems that are being dropped here. Thank you so much. So we talked about how your own grew. There was a question in the Q&A. Has it been taken?
Yeah, several questions. We've taken the first few, so you could just check. You see some more that have been taken.
So my question is
from the question, when you go to the chat, so that I just put you up to where we are, you start from the question on when children were not forthcoming downwards. Those are the questions we've not attended to.
And the Q&A from my own side, I haven't seen any questions anymore. They're not showing any questions.
Go ahead with your
questions. Okay, my questions. All right. So I had asked, and I'll go on and ask, imagining if you've answered, just tell me you have answered. I've asked if you started, like people like you started very well and things came along. How do you start building back, practical ways of building back friendship and intimacy that died? You've given us one.
We've answered that.
We've answered that.
Okay. So let me see. All right. Let me see. Okay. So you've answered when children were not forthcoming. Have you answered that?
No, we have not.
All right. When children were not forthcoming, how was the marriage? Was it still sweet as now?
I think maybe Timola will answer that, because the children started coming immediately. So I don't have any experience of when the children were not coming. So I don't know if that applies to you.
Well, we also did not have a period where the children were not forthcoming, though we had a frustrating experience where it was threatened. Okay, so at the beginning of our marriage, of course, the prayer is like, 9 months, you get pregnant, and we were so into getting pregnant right away. And it was not happening. Can you imagine right away? Not happening, just being, because after marriage, I saw my period the first month. The second month, I saw my period. And I was having to feel, oh, I'm barren. Oh, I can't have kids. Just because 2 months after marriage, I was still having my menstrual period. And it introduced stress into our relationship because of that cultural thing that we had imbibed, that it had to be children. We had not grown, or we had not known that it is primarily for companionship, and children are added blessing. Okay, so we started envisioning what would people say, what is this meaning? Does it mean that we have some challenges and all that? Until I think we did not even get there until much later in our marriage. So we did experience that stress, and it wasn't funny, okay? Such that even sex, rather than being an end in itself, it became a means to an end. It's like, we're going to have sex because we want kids. And you know how structured and rigid that can be, So there wasn't a whole lot of enjoyment or foreplay. It's like, let's just get this thing. No, come and fill the tank and let us know. Let us make sure that everything is. I'm sorry if I'm being.
Thank you so much, Ma. Still on the children, there are some questions still here. But a question came up in my mind.
What Dr. Augusta just talked about. So for us was a different experience. because my period before our wedding was my last period. So that meant that after from the honeymoon and all that, I think by the next month I was pregnant.
The goal scored.
That added stress to you. My own also was stressful because as at then I was still running my undergraduate studies. And, you know, we had that sense of, although we didn't discuss it, but in my mind was like, no children till I finish school. So that could also bring stress on its own. And again, by the time our first daughter was 17 months, I was pregnant for the second. By the time she was almost 17 months, I was pregnant for the third. And I say, you see these 17 months genes, I will have to break it. Nothing can happen in another 17 months. So what I'm trying to say is that dynamics are different. And it's not necessarily because the children did not come that will bring stress to the marriage, or the frequency of the children coming. It's just about the perspective that the couples are looking at their own dynamics. So it's important that whilst this is happening, you have to keep communicating. Because on my own, Nedum was in Lagos, I was still in school in Ilori, but we needed to talk. Sometimes I would feel like, oh, if I complain of how I was feeling, it could sound like I'm ungrateful that God has blessed us with a child. And that's we're talking intimacy here. So you must come to that place where you can vulnerably share how you're feeling and even risk being misunderstood, because it's only through vulnerability that intimacy can grow. Yes. If you're only going to say to your partner what you think is good to hear, what he thinks he wants you to hear, you will not get to the depth of intimacy. Intimacy grows when I'm willing to be vulnerable, like, oh, this man will say, what do you mean? But it's in my heart's cry. It's what is happening deep inside me. And so if I can't share it, I'm going to be burning inside, right? So I just wanted to bring that perspective that different things could happen in our dynamics. We just need to work as a team and be willing to share how it is happening. Again, when it comes to dynamics, like Dr. Augusta shared, some of the times, it's beyond even the couple. It's like also thinking, what is society going to say? Particularly for you that met and got married within the Christian fold. So it's like, and all that. So again, couples, remember, everybody out there is doing their life. Yes, they have good intentions for you, but honestly, the people that are dancing this dance are you. I've had to counsel a couple who had to call a family meeting of the extended family and tell them to give them a break. Like they were literally giving them pressure by heaping pressure on for them to have a child. But the couple had to come to, if we allow this continue, they're going to drain us up. So they had to call a family meeting and address the extended family to say, we also are desirous of this. It's not like we don't want it, but the way you are pushing us is tearing us apart, and we can't even have enjoyable sex that could even result in the child, because we all know that when it is done under stress, the possibilities of even bringing that child. And I want to say something here, Dr. Lauren, this is stepping into your field. That sometimes I've been in sessions where adult people are experiencing trauma that started even from conception, right? So I don't want to go deep into psychology, but it's important we mention that, because even the environment with which you bet that child could even bring the child in a trauma-inducing environment right from the womb.
The womb. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? There are situations like that. Mm-hmm. Let me not go deeper, but the experience I don't want to make it sound scary, but we just need to state the facts. Mm-hmm. The experience I had with one lady, through hypnosis, there was a connection that part of the trauma she passed even as a child could be connected to how she was bettered. Like in a toxic, stressful environment because of the pressure the parents put on themselves to conceive.
Yes.
So if you are loving, you want to bring a child to the world to love.
Yes.
Don't start the child on a drama of trauma because of stress that you're putting on yourself. I think that was important to mention that.
Yes. And it is not juju. It is not somebody doing. It is very scientific, okay? Because we experience toxicity because of the kind of chemicals, the hormones that are released into the blood system. And when we know that mothers, the blood system, they feed it to the baby. So when there is high stress hormonals in the mother's blood, it gets transferred even to the baby. And that is the water, that is the bathing situation in which the child is growing with either high adrenaline or cortisols, that impact even the formation of the child from the womb. So that it's like a no-brainer when you understand it. And we want to reduce that, by having different mindsets and belief system and things that will negate that, like gratitude, like de-escalating things for yourself, regulating those emotions.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Angie.
Wow. So we've heard from both the medical perspective and the psychological perspective of the effect of these things on even children. See, we've gone from intimacy to even the larger part of the family. So let's keep it there, like Auntie Mas said. There was a question I was going to ask that's still related to children. I don't know if you people can quickly answer that so that we go on to the other questions. Because I'm also interpreting this question to mean you guys were lovey-lovey, no children. When, like you started giving birth, 1, 2, 3, if you're like me, 4 children. How does the presence of children impact friendship, especially when you now start dealing with discipline? Mommy, daddy did this, daddy, mommy do this, all those kinds of things, please. Whoever wants to answer, please go.
Okay, these are the realities of life. When you get married, you also want to have children, which is a very good intention. And these children will start coming as the grace of God provides for us. And one of the things is also what we also intentionality. If you understand that these children are going to come and at their pace or their stage of development is going to come and what it looks like, you begin to, that communication is important. How do we manage this new family? How do we construct and design the environment in such a way that in taking care of the children does not impair our own personal relationship as husband and wife? And our relationship as husband and wife will not again negate how we're going to raise these children in such a wonderful and meaningful way that they will grow as wholesome individuals. So it boils down to anytime you have an addition, go back to your drawing board to look at the dynamics of time, attention, space. What are the new roles and responsibilities that's going to come as a result of this addition? So you don't assume things should just happen. No, because you are going to also deprive yourself of some of the times of intimacy you originally shared when it was just both of you. An addition has come in. So which means at a certain time within your time, you are going to also release those time you used to spend time alone and begin to address the need of the new addition as a part of the responsibility. So as they come, whether they are 2 or 3, it's going to also affect your personal relationship because there are times you want to be together with your spouse, to go to enjoy, and it will not happen. And it will not happen. Why? Perhaps you don't have a house help or supporting caregivers who may hold the child, or you don't have family members around where you can put 2 children to. It's going to hamper the relationship. And somehow it can also bring stress to your own relationship if you are not careful enough to understand those timing. So it's important to deliberately look at those opportunities and know how to adjust and reschedule your schedules, and know how your roles and responsibility fit into that time.
Let me add to that, which is why it's important that as a young couple and any couple, but because we're talking children and when they are young, should have network of friends that are also within, you know, like that range. Because you would have to take rounds in babysitting for one another at some times, so that some people can do some things. So if I'm drawing from our case, gratefully, we happen to live not too far away from family. So even when the kids were young, some weekends we would just ship them to my sister's house. Let them go and be bonding with Auntie Doris while we are doing our thing. Because if you are not intentional to do this, you will begin to notice, like, friendship does not just one day break. It's just little by little is taken away. So you can, if it is engine, you have a friend, you take the children to her or she babysits for you. You know that it is a favor waiting for you to reciprocate. The time it is for she and her husband to just spend some time, you also go and babysit for her so that you can also have your time. That's one. Two, Neduma and I are also, we're unapologetic about our time together. You have to also be intentional with, like, your domestic staff, at least recruiting the people that you can, you know, leave the children with. Because even when our children were small, there are times they are knocking on the door. We don't used to open door.
Child.
So it's not like they'll say, oh, he wants the child. Because I say, everybody do what works for you. Some people will say, if my child is knocking, I must open. And Kukuma know nothing is doing the child. It's not about to die. If there was an emergency, it won't be that kind of knock that they will be knocking for emergency.
All right, because of time, I would really try to cut the answers short. Okay. Because of time.
I'll just leave that. But
I don't know.
I think I made my case.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yes, we have a few minutes remaining for this, and we still have robust questions waiting for you people. I don't know if Timolare wants to speak to this, or should I go quickly to the next question?
Very quickly, when children are involved, not judging the parenting style and developing resentment for how they're parenting is something that could actually also interrupt with intimacy from children indirectly. You know, when I'm thinking that, oh, my husband is not doing the right thing, or he's bringing stuff from his own family background and he's going to do this, it's, you know, and when the children, he doesn't have the freedom to be himself in parenting the children, and I'm judging him, I'm not going to be having any good feelings towards him for friendship or intimacy when I'm judging his parenting. So judging is a very bad thing for developing friendship, even in parenting, you know. So we just wanted to, you know, to drop that in, you know. And then sometimes you do everything you want to do, like what Dima said. We had our baby, we had one child when in March. It was going to be our wedding anniversary in April, and we decided that we were going to go and spend time alone, and we gave the baby to somebody to take care of. Guess what? I was breastfeeding. We got to the place of intimacy and my boobs were like engorged. So how kind of piam is going to be? So the first piaming was somebody having to drink some breast milk.
I know.
Just being real, you know, just being real. You know, he had to help me. So sometimes there are physical issues that can impact, and we just have to deal with it, be open with it, and know that this is what we have, and come up with your own creative ways of overcoming those challenges when they show up.
Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much, Ma. I think we just have like 4 minutes till we end this session. So let me quickly ask the next question. This person is saying, I think I am the fast and focused one, while my hobby seems to be the slow and indifferent one. How did you navigate through these personality differences? that imagining these personality differences are affecting their friendship and their intimacy. Who wants to go?
I would say, I think each person's personality is meant to complement the other person. So fast and focused, good. But you can be so fast and focused that you run the ship aground because you don't have a process. And the slow one can be the one who walks you through process. You want to go from A to Z, or the slow one says, have you thought about B, C, D, E? So you become a student of your spouse. You let your spouse teach you through their personality, those things that are lacking in your personality. So it's a complementary thing. Nobody is slow. We complement each other in our personality types. We need to honor and receive the persons the way they are and not judge them for how they showed up. It is what you saw in them that attracted you. The way they are is what you saw that attracted you.
All right. So complementing each other's personalities, what I hear you say. TeamDinmaNedum, do you want to speak to it before we go on?
I think he hits the nail on the head. Maybe we should just move to the next question. Yeah.
Yes, and I can just see that from the two of you, calm and very, very fast. All right, so there's one more question, or two more questions I can take now. Let me take this one. Was there a time you had a financial challenge as a couple? This is to any of you. If yes, how are you able to manage your intimacy and friendship as a couple? Because money, they make love work for sometimes.
Okay.
Please answer.
Yeah. When you come to financial challenge, I will always say there are two kinds of financial challenge, either having too much or not having enough. Because those who also have enough, most times of more than enough, also fight because of money. And some people also fight because of there's not enough. And that's where it's important you have a system of good money management skills and the teamwork that is needed. Money challenges, like I said, may come in any form. Now, when you are talking not enough, the question we're asked, do you right from the time have a financial plan for your family? How to spend, what to spend on, how to invest or what not to invest on, and also pay attention to your income on regular basis and know what is needful. So there are times you have certain plans and the money is not coming. Be vulnerable enough to tell your partner that this money is not coming for the way we planned. We can change it. You may be wanting a birthday party and you planned, it's a beautiful thing, but you have a school fees to pay. And the money you're expecting, the income, be humble enough, be sensitive enough to say, I have told my friends I'm going to celebrate this, I'm going to celebrate that. Also tell them we have postponed it. You see, when you focus on what is needful and important, that team-centeredness can make you navigate every process. Can help even when it is Gary and Coke, you can be drinking it joyfully until you pass through that stage and through that process. And it's the same thing for us and has happened, where there was a time we had only one car. We need to sell off the other cars and only one car, and she was working. And she was the one driving the car, and I was taking care or bus or whatever for some period of time because we needed that adjustment. These are some of the things you don't come out to shout on it. Work gallantly even with your leg that time. But whoever that needs that thing at that moment or more needful should take priority over what is important at that moment. And before you know it, you bounce back to where you were and where you ought to be. So communication, honesty, transparency is very, very important when it is very, very low. It's a testing time, but if you don't have such values and virtues, it's going to be tougher. It's going to be really, really very tough. So that is just the advice I say when this thing happens. There's always options. Make sure you take the most informed options audaciously without trying to favor anybody that you have no explanation to.
And I'll just add to that to say that every family should maximize their earning potentials to contribute to the family economy. Even more so now that there's a sense of global recession around. And what do I mean? There are things that can add to your family economy that a lot of people neglect or feel just, now I'm using this as a metaphor, right? Nedum and I were walking back on Saturday and we saw one man, maybe in his 40s, who had this shed where he was frying akara. And we started to have the conversation and Nedum was like, this is the first time he's seen a man frying akara as an economic venture. That is usually the women that do it. Why am I saying that? There could be some skills or talents or opportunities that both of you or members of your family can bring to their family economy, but then like, oh, it's not our level, it's not this one. Why? I remember even when I started working in the bank, some of Nedum's colleagues will be like, why did you leave your wife to be a marketing staff, going around begging people to open accounts? Little did they know that in going around begging people to open accounts, I was honing my skills of how to do business and survive. It was beyond just, I didn't see it as begging around, but there were people, his contemporaries, who would never have imagined, who would never have let their wives do that. And we've seen many cases drawing from the Igbo culture. When the man is no more, even with all the money he leaves, the wife has no business acumen, does not know even where to start, and relatives just come and squander the money. Meanwhile, she was well trained and could have brought some input to that business, but because of some stereotypical values or mindset, you didn't explore that. So my take is to add to that, explore all the avenues that your family can make money and do it with your full chest, because those people that are looking at you will not give you where you don't have.
Wow. Awesome, awesome, very wise counsel there. Be as real gets with your finances and all of that, and then express your gifts earned by them, no matter how or what people think. That's a good advice for us, the Gen Zs who will not do some things. All right, so I have one more question. We have 1 more minute by Grace to take on this session. So this question has come again, so I will read it. It says, in the 10 challenging years of fights, I think I missed where this one was shared. It says, in the 10 challenging years of fights, did you at any point in time explore the option of a counselor? If not, how are you able to come to a place of understanding to make resolutions on connecting daily?
We did not, but it was the grace of humility on my part. I had to be humble as a man and discover that something is wrong here. You know, this is not working. This is not what we signed up for. And it's good if you have the resources to get a counselor, like Nedum has said earlier, to seek out counselors, to find people who can help you through that challenging period. But for us, I would say I took responsibility that something is not right, something is not working, you know, and we started to work at it. Yes.
We actually spoke to some people about it when we were going to celebrate our 10th year anniversary. You remember?
Okay.
Remember? Yes. Because we were going to celebrate 10 years anniversary, and there was just an accumulation of stuff, and we had some people who were going to perform the ceremony, and I insisted that, you know, let us do premarital counseling again. So we were able to use those people who were going to conduct our 10th year anniversary celebration as our counselors. And we said that over this 10 years, XYZ has been happening. So at least we had their own intervention to listen to us and give us some advice.
Thank you. I'm glad that she's here.
So we actually did.
To remind me of that portion.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So what I learned from you is, so because we all get advice every day, but it's the person that took the advice that progresses. And when you were speaking, sir, what I thought was the biblical word they use for the prodigal son. He came to himself, because at some point you have to come to yourself. And there is no time that is too long. 10 years, some people would have thrown in the towel and say, I mean, 10 years of my life, it's been this tough, I won't do it again. But if at 10 years you believe that you can come to yourself, is a good way to rebuild. And I love how she put it. We did premarital counseling again. I've had an evening of a buffet of learning. I don't know about anybody that's in the comments. And because of the time, my job is to review and get feedback from, or feed forward. I love how Auntie Dimma used feed forward. The first time I heard her use that, I was like, there's something here, right? So do you have any learnings you've gotten this evening? If we leave this session, it will continue. Marriage is a long-lasting thing. It has a lot of questions in different dimensions and ways, but we have learned so much. And it's not in the how much we've learned, it's the how much we're ready to do. So did you get anything that you're going away from here with? Could you share with us? I think that the comments can be written in the Q&A sections so that we can see them. I did get a lot. And you know, I could say, they have said everything. But I need to pick one or two things. Uncle Nedum, you see that financial vulnerability, that's the way I interpret what you said. It helps so, because you know, sometimes we women, we can, let me assume that it's us that's always very demanding. It's because some people are acting as if it's all together. We are demanding. But if you're vulnerable with us, there's something that someone I know will say, at least you know how much is there. So, you know, there's nothing to ask for. So financial vulnerability at least takes a lot of tension away. I think it also makes the other person, especially if the other person is a very responsible person, to be more vulnerable and more accountable to, because if one person is hiding, there's a tendency another person will start hiding. But if we keep it open like that, sometimes it could be a reason to even laugh over life and, you know, build friendships. Now Paul will not die. How can we move on from here? So that was a good advice. And Madima still on the fine, because money is a key thing that affects intimacy. No money, no love, like some people say it, right? So that's why I'm trying to share this feed forward on the financial part of the relationship. See, when someone has abilities, and I use myself as a woman, there are some abilities that we have, but because in our climes, it's easier to be Oriaku. Like they say, the person where they chop the wealth. We could, you know, stay pampered and pocket our abilities. And some men say, no, how can my wife work? You know, those things are yeah, people say that. My wife should not work. I've heard someone say that it's because the mother worked that made her not to be controllable. So the wife cannot work. Issues like that exist. And then maybe situations of ill health or business mishap. So nobody is existing to bail the family out. There's so much for us to learn from there, and it can help intimacy. I mean, when a wife has enough money, like Madima, one day just tell Uncle, you just come out of the house and he'll see one bad car. Imagine the love. Imagine the love. As if she has not done it before. I'm just imagining. So that's one thing. And for you, Timolari, I can see that you can start in friendship and have a shaky journey in between. But it's good to go again and say, guy, we started well. What is happening to us? And it's not about anybody being proud and saying, it's because you changed. Because so many times what happens is that we point fingers at each other. It's you that changed, it's me that changed. We get to work, everybody takes responsibility, and we do the needed work. The fact that you decided to marry again and take the lessons before the marriage is something that someone can emulate. Another thing is, when you said you came to yourself, that's how I interpreted it. Many men have a lot to learn from you, that it's possible to be humbled. Chop humble pie. What do you want? Like Uncle Nedum said at the beginning, what do you want? What will it cost you to get what you want? I think it's a thing of pride to say, guy, it's not working and I'm getting to work. I've learned so much. And if you leave me here, I'll keep rambling because that's my job. But I'll leave the room for anybody that has anything to say. I'm sorry for anyone I didn't take your questions. I'm a man on the authority, a woman on the authority, and I obey the laws of the land. So this is the time I've been given in such a learning evening. And congratulations again to you, TeamDinmaNedum, for putting this awesome learning-a-thon. It's Love-A-Thon, but it's also learning-a-thon together. And for all that you do to inspire us, to tell us that marriage is still something to aspire to. It's an achievement, if I have to use it. God bless you. God keep empowering you. God keep blessing you. God keep blessing your children. I think that's for me. I will hand it over now to you. Thank you so much, Team Olari, for being here. I appreciate you. I love you people already. Ma, I love you. I love your energy. Thanks for being here. I'm signing out from here now.
All right, thank you so much, Njideka Raleke Obiora. It's a pleasure to have you here. I know how we met, I know how the journey has been, and I celebrate everything that you've achieved with your husband, Raleke Obiora. So send our love back home to them to say that the team are really blessed to have had you, and our prayers are that your love will continue to grow stronger and stronger in Jesus.
Amen.
Amen.
Team Olaore, what can we say? I introduced them, so
okay. Yeah, I think the first time I saw both of you was when you were celebrating your 35 years, I think. So
first time. You didn't see them in FSC?
No, not FSC. I listened to their webinar where they were sharing and celebrating, and I was so much inspired. And one of the things I love about is your vulnerability to share your strengths, your weaknesses, and how you have evolved. And sometimes when we look forward to what you have done, and we are looking up to people who can also draw strength for, it gives us hope that it's possible to also attain that level. For spending this time with us, we are so humble, sir. Thank you, man. Thank you for this time, and God bless you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, we feel highly honored, and God bless you. Many, many more years, another 20 years of pim, 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 pim. Yeah, pim, pim, pim.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. All right, people, it's been amazing. This is day 4, and every day we have a guest couple and a topic to share with you. And so we've been getting some feelers from people who are engaged, dating singles, and they're saying to us, so like, is this for only married people? Can we have a version for young people? So let me just put the disclaimer. What is coming next after this is not necessarily for singles, but for dating singles that are in a serious dating relationship, and you're about to ask yourself, should I propose? Am I comfortable? What do I need to check to know if I can propose to this person? Or you are engaged and you're about to get into marriage and you're asking, okay, what do we need to do? We've heard that it is better to start right so that we can enjoy marriage, a lifelong bliss. What do we need to do? So we are going to be announcing that after Love-A-Thon, we would have a webinar for engaged singles and people in the first 5 years of their marriage to just conceptualize the idea of flourishing together that is for them, what to look out for before you propose, what to look out for and do before you say I do. And so if you fit into that, or you know somebody who fits in, just tell them to watch out for our next announcement. And I think it's been amazing. I will just invite K2, who will be giving us the vote of thanks and also preparing us for what is to come next week. Kate, are you there? All right, and thank you. If you have more questions, you can send us the questions directly and we will try to answer them, but I'll just keep quiet and let Kate do her thing.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the case and extension, the entire DinmaNedum Nation, I would like to thank you, most especially our anchor, Mrs. Njideka Raleke Obiora, and our guest couple, Team Olaore, for not only putting aside to attend this webinar, but for your contributions, which have made this session a transformative and collaborative one. I'll always say my favorite thing about my parents' marriage is their non-verbal communication. I like the fact that they can understand what each other is trying to say without necessarily talking to each other, and they will be able to give that sign language or body language, and the other will be able to understand what they're trying to say. Join us for our last week of Love-A-Thon next week, where we will have our topic as Still Forever, Wisdom of Living Apart, which our guest couple will be Team Fowowe. Trust me, you do not want to miss this because we will leave with a bang. My sincerest gratitude to you all, and I hope you all will have a good rest of your night. Thank you.
And with that, it's a wrap from us. Thank you for sharing time with us. And you can as well invite your friends and loved ones to come next week, where we'll be sharing on wisdom for living apart, especially in this Japa economy. So on behalf of TeamDinmaNedum, it's thanks for being here, and see you again next week.